I built this 3-in-1 table as the new centerpiece of my workshop. It turned out great and I'm really happy with it. And if you'd like to learn about its features and see how I built it, come on in. Hi and welcome, I'm Andreas. For a long time I've missed a table at the center of my workbench that is accessible from more than one side and then can be used as an outfeed table and as an assembly table for pieces that are hard to put together on the workbench that's up against the wall. At the same time I've had a router table built into my table saw, but that also wasn't ideal. I didn't have a proper fence for it, and I've always dreamed of having a proper router table. So in the last couple of months I've built this and I'm really happy with it. It has all the features that I wanted. It has dust extraction in the router table. I have now professional grade Kreg accessories for the router table. Thanks a lot to Kreg for supporting me on that one, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So without further ado, let's get going and I'll show you how I put this thing together. So now the frame of the table is finished. The next step is to attach these leveling feet. They are heavy duty to the bottom because this is, among other things, going to be an outfeed table. So I want to be able to adjust its height exactly to the height of the top of my table saw. And since my floor is not exactly level, I use these leveling feet to really dial that in accurately. So next I'm going to cut all the sheet material for the drawer carcasses, the drawer fronts and the siding. Now that the oil has dried overnight on all the carcasses, it's time to install the drawers. I always really like that moment because it adds the first layer of real functionality to the pieces. And it also is a moment of truth because you first see if you've measured correctly, if you've worked correctly, so that the drawers will actually run smoothly. So let's see if that works. So next I'm going to prepare the holes with which one of the dust collection hoses is going to run through the workbench, because the router table will have two spots where dust is collected. One is below the table, and that hose is going to run through these two side panels and on to the main dust collection system, and the second one is running on top. And for the bottom one, there's going to be holes for the hose to run through. And then the next step will be to prepare the table for attachment to the base. For that I will screw holes and then use bolts and threaded inserts in the tabletop to attach the whole thing, and these are the steps I'm going to do next. So now I've put these threaded inserts into the tabletop, and I'm going to use these bolts to attach the tabletop to the frame. To allow for wood movement, the holes in the frame are 10 millimeters, while the bolts only have 8 millimeters, so that should allow the whole tabletop to move a little with temperature and moisture changes. So now the tabletop is securely attached, and the next step is now to turn this workbench into an actual router table and outfeed table. So that means cutting the hole for the router table plate, by which I use the Kreg one that I have, to cut the grooves for the T-tracks in which the fence will run, and to cut the grooves to make my crosscut sled run into the outfeed table, because obviously that needs the runners to go out into the tabletop as well. And that will be now the next steps. At this point I'd like to thank Kreg, who supported me with my earlier router table bit and also with this one. So all these parts that I will be using will be by Kreg, and you'll find links to them in the description. So all the grooves are routed now for the tracks and the inserts, and I decided to sand the tracks round here instead of making the groove square, because I just like those round endings of the grooves, and since this is aluminium it was easy to sand down on the disc sander. I don't put them in now because everything still has to be sanded and oiled, so I would have just to take them out again. What remains to be done is the electrical parts of the router table. So putting in the cable, putting it through out of the other end, putting in the dust hose, and installing the switch on this side, and that's what we're going to do now. To use this router fence by Kreg on my table, I have to modify it a little bit. Normally this fence is meant to be mounted on the Kreg router table, and there it has a special mounting mechanism which runs along the side and which automatically squares the fence if you tighten it. But for my setup here, I can't use, or I don't want to use, that rail at the side, because I'm planning to work from this side when I use this table as an assembly table and a workbench. So I inserted these tracks into the tabletop, and therefore I have to drill 2 holes into the fence, and then I have screws that run into the tracks, and that way I can fix the fence to the table. So I'm really pleased with having that. I can't wait to put it to use. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.